This city has faced challenges like any other city, but those who fought for its independence 40 years ago say they are building an archive so that future generations can remember East Palo Alto with pride.
This is actually the site of the incorporation where the committee met all those years ago.
321 Bell Street is now home to the East Palo Alto Community Archive. The meeting space is temporarily housing items and mementos that tell the history and current state of East Palo Alto. Last year, the city celebrated its 40th anniversary.
This community grew out of regular people getting together and actively campaigning to make this city what it is.
The East Palo Alto Citizens Committee on Incorporation formed in December 1979 to explore a path toward cityhood. At the time, the predominantly black neighborhood was part of unincorporated San Mateo County. Maida Okelo was a student at Stanford when he says he started attending committee meetings.
And they were talking about how police services were so inadequate. I remember that at the corner of Bay and University, they were selling drugs, and the sheriff's office was 30 feet away. So I understood, I totally understood why it was necessary for the community to come together and begin to control their own resources.
With voters heavily divided on the issue, East Palo Alto officially became a city on July 1st, 1983.
This is actually the first city council.
The incorporation passed by a 15-vote margin, with more than 3,500 people casting a vote. Barbara Mouton became its first mayor, and Ruben Abrica, who was on the city's first city council, would become East Palo Alto's first Latino mayor in 2006.
I'm helping with the oral histories and organizing them, and I'm as a records person, keeping track of who we've interviewed and where did the donations come from, the deeds of gifts and all of that.
Each community tells a different story.
Right.
You give them the opportunity, put a microphone in front of them, and they'll tell a whole different experience.
Currently, the archive's website chronicles all people who've lived in East Palo Alto, including Native Americans, Pacific Islanders, Asian Americans, and Latinos.
And so this archive is actually an instrument of empowerment, okay? So that people will be able to tell their own story, authentic story in their voice. And that was very important to us as we put the archive together.
Wilson also says that they want to raise $1.2 million to create a museum, a permanent space for the East Palo Alto Community Archive. Claudine?
It's such an important project and such an important history to remember. Do they have a timeline for when a permanent museum might become a reality? I suppose it depends a lot on how long it takes to raise that money.
Exactly, yeah. It depends on how long it takes them. They haven't actually rolled out their campaign yet, but they're gearing up for it. So hopefully, in the next year or two.
Yeah, certainly. We'll keep an eye on their progress. LaMonica, thanks so much for that live report.